For my final project, I decided to focus on sexuality and identification. Sexuality, or how a person identifies in relation to the gender they are attracted to, as well as identity, both play major roles in shaping individuals. The problem surrounding sexuality and identity is a problem that has been occurring throughout all history. Up until 1920, women weren't even allowed to vote. This means that up until August 26th of 1920, women had no rights over themselves or the way they were governed. This allowed men to stay in positions of power while women were left helpless. While these unfair societal roles affected the way in which men and women viewed themselves, sexuality was also viewed very differently. Members of the LGBTQ+ community tended to suppress their true thoughts and feelings, fearful that they would be bullied or targeted because of it. Though problems surrounding sexuality and identification continue to exist, the societal standards, representation, culture, and mental health regarding sexuality and identification have improved immensely. One way in which sexuality and identification has changed is with the shift of societal standards. The phrases "act like a lady" and "man up" are phrases that used to be a part of everyday language. With these ideas came stereotypes. While women were supposed to take care of the children and do the house chores, men were supposed to be doing jobs with physical labor and acting tough. Generation Z has helped to stop the spread of these toxic stereotypes. One group of men who are helping to stop these stereotypes is celebrities. Celebrities such as Ross Lynch, Finn Wolford, and Harry Styles have all embraced their identity by wearing makeup and clothing that would be deemed feminine. Harry Styles is known especially for his acceptance. While touring for his albums, he always sings with a pride flag and preaches inclusion and equality. More recently, Harry Styles has just become the first male to appear on the cover of Vogue alone for the December 2020 issue. Though this sparked some controversy for ignorant individuals, Harry Styles was able to fight back against fragile masculinity. On top of this, representation of both genders has continued to grow in the workplace and areas of power. Up until the most recent election, there has never been a female president or vice president, making Kamala Harris the first. On top of being a woman, Kamala Harris is also African American. Being a double minority, Harris has been able to help with the issue of intersectionality. Although there have been women in government positions before, as well as black men, it is extremely rare to see someone who is both a female and an African American in a position of power. Having the first woman in the executive branch of government also be an African American helps women of all backgrounds to feel represented. Along with gaining a voice in government, women have also gained more jobs in engineering and construction. Jobs in engineering and construction have been male-dominated throughout all of history, and imposter syndrome, along with a lack of confidence, has forced women to continue to feel as if they cannot take on these jobs they have been told are designed for men. As more women continue to join the workforce and enter male-dominated jobs, Generation Z continues to break records regarding women's achievements. According to Society of Women Engineers, from 2012 to 2017, there was a 58% increase in bachelor's degrees awarded to women for computer science and engineering. As more women enter male-dominated jobs, the increase in female representation will help women everywhere to feel more capable and confident in their abilities to participate in the same jobs as men. Next, the culture surrounding sexuality and identification has changed. In other generations, people would use their religion to wrongly justify their homophobia. Nowadays, this is not acceptable due to the change in culture. According to Damiant, in the Catholic religion, even the Pope has voiced his acceptance of same-sex relationships. As the stigma surrounding sexuality and identification reduces, the mental health of Generation Z regarding sexuality and identification will improve. With a more accepting society, both genders have been able to embrace their identity without the fear of being judged. Also, women have been able to participate in jobs they love without judgment after seeing more female representation in all job positions. Lastly, the culture change has helped Generation Z to feel more welcome and loved regardless of their sexuality. Though the world is already becoming more accepting of people's sexuality and identification, Generation Z will continue to change the stigma in a positive way. Since Generation Z grew up in a time where gay marriage was legalized in all 50 states and men and women were given more equal opportunities, men and women everywhere are more understanding of their worth. This is why almost every high school and college has a club or program for gender and sexuality. These clubs help people to feel less alone and more accepted by giving people the opportunity to connect to and form bonds with people that are going through similar situations. Though acceptance cannot be learned overnight, I firmly believe that Generation Z will continue to reverse the stereotypes regarding sexuality and identification. Since the majority of Generation Z is still in school, they are not able to hold many positions of power yet. Once Generation Z is represented more in government and office jobs, the ideas of acceptance and empowerment of all people will persist. Also, once Generation Z raise their families, they will teach their children to treat everybody with respect. They will also teach their children to be whoever they want to be regardless of their gender. Since Generation Z fights so hard to break the stigma, they will continue to make sure that there is no stigma when raising their kids of their own. Though nothing can change overnight, as Generation Z continues to evolve and grow up, the acceptance of sexuality and identity will continue to improve.